This meeting is being recorded.
Go ahead and turn to page 121 in your grammar book. I'm hoping we'll finish this book. I think we will. We're pretty close. This class is going to go through the first week in May. That'll be our last week of class. It's crazy. I cannot believe we're really quickly approaching April. So there's not a whole lot of classes left. But I'm pretty sure we're going to be able to at least finish this book. We will not be able to finish the binder, but we'll get as far as we can. I think you have, like, especially after this research unit, you'll have enough to keep going, you know, in high school with other writing classes and stuff. I think you'll have enough information. You can use the skills and even in college, you can use this stuff. So, but anyway, I was explaining to Jasper before I recorded that I am offering, I don't know if I told you this part, Jasper, but I am offering summer classes too. So I don't know. I think Melina's mom said they weren't going to do summer. And I get it. There's so much going on during the summer, and you know, this is a lot to take on. So there's summer classes if you want to keep going in the binder. And then I'm probably not going to offer high school classes next year unless you or Melina need it. Then I would do it for you guys. So that's that. So just check with your parents about that for next year. And I'll start in August, like middle of August for the next school year. Okay. Looking at page 121, we're talking about run-on sentences. We've talked about this before. So this is a little more detail about that. In week 10, we learned that a run-on occurs when a sentence has a main clause, when a sentence has main clauses that are not connected properly. A run-on can be either a fused sentence or a comma splice. You also learned the 3 simple ways to fix a run-on. Place a period at the end of each main clause. That's the easiest way. Use a semicolon when 2 main clauses express a single idea and are similar in length or construction. That semicolon is a little tricky to figure out where it goes. It's pretty rare, but you can use it in this situation here. So, or you use a comma and a coordinating conjunction when a CC logically expresses the relationship between the 2 main clauses. So those are the ways to fix it. A 4th way to fix a run-on is to change one of the clauses into an adverb clause by inserting a www word. Use a comma after, not before, an adverb clause. So this lesson is basically showing us a new way to fix a run-on sentence using an adverb clause. Dorinda's reduced height was a problem because attendants were not used to looking down. It's a weird sentence. Okay, whatever. Dorinda's reduced height was a problem, and then it just was a comma originally. Attendants were not used to looking down. So that was a weird, awkward sentence with just a comma. And I think there's more than one way to fix this, but they're suggesting using the www.asia.b type word. That's an adverb clause. So because this passage contains 2 main clauses connected with a comma, which is a run-on or comma splice, fix the run-on by inserting a WW word before the second main clause, forming a dependent adverb clause. And here's the pattern, MCAC. And no comma there. Here, they're using another adverb clause because if is part of that www.asia. And so they've inserted that here. So the original says the princess rested on the floor in the great hall. Someone might step on her. Obviously, that's awkward unless you add something to it. So if the princess rested on the floor in the great hall, someone might step on her. It just flows better that way. And for this one, since the adverb clause comes first before the main clause, it does have a comma. That's the comma rule. That's basically what that says. Continue to look for and fix run-ons. Fix it will indicate if you should fix a run-on with a coordinating conjunction or with an adverb clause. Follow the comma rules. So those are the two options in your homework this week. You're going to fix the run-on sentences by either using a coordinating conjunction or an adverb clause. And we'll take a peek at that in a minute, but I'm pretty sure there's more than one answer to that. So I'll look at that in a minute, but okay. To fix a run-on with a coordinating conjunction, insert a CC between two main clauses, follow the comma rule, and the pattern is MC, comma, CC, MC. Dorinda deserved her punishment, but she did not like it. Okay. To fix a run-on with an adverb clause, insert the www word before a main clause, making it an adverb clause. Follow the comma rules right here. Adverb clause, comma, main clause, or main clause, adverb clause. And here's your example at the bottom. They inserted although, which is a www word. Although Dorinda deserved her punishment, comma, she did not like it. So see, that's a different way to fix that. So I'm thinking in your homework, you're going to have options. Dorinda deserved her punishment, although she did not like it. So a few different ways there. Any questions on this first page so far, Jasper?
No.
Okay. Next to do. Oh my God. I totally messed up. Hold on. Hold everything. We were going along just fine. I'm on the wrong page. Oh boy, I hope that's not an indication of how this day is going to go, because it's not good. Wait a second. Oh, I'm okay, Jasper. Just ignore everything I just said. I'm on my wrong page in my teacher's edition. So that, okay, I'm good. I'm with you now.
I thought you meant like it was supposed to be the next set, but I looked at it and I was like, that's the one that I did last week.
Okay, good. Ignore my freak out. I'm okay now. Yeah, I was looking at the wrong page on my teacher's edition, but we were correct here. So now I'm on page 122, and that is correct. That's funny. Okay, back on track. Contrasting items. All right, so a contrast shows a striking difference between things. In writing, we often use the words not, although, while, or whereas to show contrast. Some of those words are actually adverb clause words. So, but those are words that we use to show contrast. It does say to use a comma to separate contrasting parts of the sentence. Use a comma before not when it begins a contrasting phrase. Everyone treated Dorinda as a toad, not a princess. So a toad is strikingly different from a princess. So use a comma. So it's funny how they use that word strikingly. So anyway, use a comma before the www words, although, while, or whereas. When the adverb clause is strikingly different from the main clause before it. You have learned you should not place a comma before an adverb clause. So MC, AC. You have, contrasting items, however, do take commas. Therefore, when an adverb clause is strikingly different from the main clause before it, use a comma. When the two comma rules contradict, follow the rule that says to use a comma. Yeah, so trying to remember the comma rules gets a little crazy, but and I don't really, I guess if you just notice that it's comparing, or it has two parts that are extremely different or strikingly different, then that's when you know to use the comma. So Palace staff used to cater to her, whereas now they mocked her. So obviously catering to her and mocking her are strikingly different. So we use a comma there and whereas. So the adverb whereas, now they mocked her, is strikingly different from the statement Palace staff used to cater to her. Okay, so fix it. Use a comma before not when it begins a contrasting phrase. Use a comma before although, while, or whereas when it begins a contrasting clause. So we're talking about the difference between phrases and clauses here, but it looks like really you're going to use a comma either way. And then your examples here, Dorinda was rude, not gracious. She loathed her transformation, although there was one real benefit. She could hide in rooms and eavesdrop, while that was impossible before. So notice just the commas. I think that would be a pretty good rule to just keep in mind with the commas. All right. So I'm just going to look at this page really quick because I want to confirm that there's a couple options here. Let's see really quick there. Let's see. Use a comma to separate. Yeah, they do have one answer actually. So that, I think on this one, right here in the middle where it says she found it difficult to convince anyone at the palace of her true identity, the crown and beauty spot proved she is the princess. So this one is suggesting using although here at the beginning. So although she found it difficult.
Oh, yeah, that would make sense. That was confusing me. I was like, why would she find it difficult if it proved it?
Yeah, exactly. You're right. So although does make it clarify that. So good. Yeah, so these are not too bad. You're gonna, I think that's the only one where you're adding, no, page 126. Page 126 really quick. I'll just give you a heads up on that one too. This one, Dorinda glared, and then here, Lady Constance wasn't convinced. She pressed her again. So they're suggesting using the word because here. So Dorinda glared, period. Because Lady Constance wasn't convinced, she pressed her again. So that's a heads up for that one. That will be one of the adverb clauses that you'll put in there. Okay. So I think you'll do fine on this, Jasper. Do you have any questions from here?
I don't think so.
Okay. All right. Moving on. We're done with grammar. I gotta turn off my heater really quick.
Okay.
That thing really gets with it. Okay. Last week, we started talking about a research paper, and we're talking about chimpanzees. And so go ahead and get out your binder and your stuff we've been looking at from last week should be at the front of your binder or wherever you keep it. And we looked at the first source text, which was source text A. And then we talked about how to skim that and then to find out what types of topics does it address in there. And I used my erasable pen, but you should have notes in the margin here about, yeah, what kind of, each, my dogs. Hey. Each paragraph has some kind of a theme to it, and we tried to pull out, what is this paragraph talking about? So I wanted to kind of just review really quick the big picture for the research paper. You've got 4 source texts now, and they're all pretty long, and what we're looking for is a common theme in each of these texts, and then we're going to pull out the topics that you find are most common in all of these texts, and then you'll make a keyword outline with those, and then we'll fuse those into one keyword outline. So that's what we talked about last week, but I'm going to go over that a little bit more with you. But first, go ahead and get out a clean line piece of paper. I'm going to have you take some notes really quick here again. Actually, let me just Sharpie here. Go ahead and label your page.
Did the binders come with the big pieces of white paper?
Yeah, they did. And funny you bring that up, because they're suggesting using those for these fused outlines. But I think what I'm going to have you do is actually turn your line page sideways. That way you can keep it in your binder, because those big pages, are, I don't know, they might fall out or something. So, but yeah, so they wanted you to like fold it and use it for your fused outline.
Okay.
Unless you want to use that, I guess we could try using that if you want.
No, that's all right.
Yeah. Okay.
I was just getting the paper, and I saw those there, and
Yeah.
I was a little bit confused.
Yeah, they did come with a binder for that reason. So, okay, let's see. Let's just call this chimpanzees. And then underneath that, we'll just put possible topics. So remember, the big picture is the subject is whatever you're doing your research on. Remember, we talked about Egypt as being a subject, and then possible topics under that were like pyramids and, their mythology and cats and stuff. And we talked about different ideas under that. So these topics are each paragraph, and we're going to dwindle this down to just a 3-paragraph research paper. And each paragraph will be a different topic. So this is where we're going to decide which topic we're going to settle on to do our writing. So on your chimpanzees, this source A, in the margin, we're going to make a list of the topics of each paragraph. So we'll just number these. So number 1, in that first paragraph, I think we decided it was species, right? Is that the note that you have in the margin of your first paragraph?
Oh yeah, it's on the paragraph, not a
Yeah. On the actual paragraph, yeah, I think that's what we
decided. Species.
Okay. And then what was the second paragraph?
Life cycle.
Okay. So what we're doing here is just making a possible list of topics to choose from. The next one was
Behavior.
okay.
Family.
Okay.
And then spoiled.
Spoiled. Yeah, that was, let's put spoiled child. I think
All
that's
right.
what they referred to.
And then
Okay.
we used family 3 times.
Okay. So we don't have to write it again. We'll leave that there. So next to that, I just want you to just put a dash, and we're going to put A next to these because these are from source text A. So now what we're going to do is move on to source text B and do the same thing. We'll just kind of scan it and look at the first and last sentences. They have it set up pretty easy for you for this first time through. And like I said before, you can look at those topic and clincher sentences and see what's being repeated, and that can tell us what really kind of, what each paragraph is about. So this one is a spoiled child. So let me get this out really quick here. We'll do the same thing just in the margin, putting a little note. So looking at that first paragraph with the first and last sentence, what do you think that one's about?
Community.
Community, yeah. Yep, communities in both. And they're talking about like maybe their social.
It also says tribe in both the first and last one.
Okay. I wonder if we could call that family, because I think that's, goes along with family.
Like hierarchy, I guess. Maybe not. I see alpha leader and loyalty in the last sentence.
Yeah. That's a good one. Let's put hierarchy there. Tell me how to spell hierarchy.
HIREARCHY.
Sounds good. Yeah, I was going to say, let's check it. Oh, it's actually in here. Hierarchically. Okay, you were super close. Just kidding. You were way off.
Oh yeah. Wait.
That's all right. I see it right here. They have an LY at the end, but I think it's HIE.
Oh, that's hierarchically organized, like saying specially organized.
Yeah.
Oh, I see what you're saying. Never mind. You meant the first letters in.
I think hierarchy, is it HIERARCHY?
Yeah, it was ER, not RE.
HIER. All right. How do you spell hierarchy? H. Yeah. ARCHY. It's one of those weird words. Okay. Yeah, I think that would be good to include. All right, looking at kind of glancing at the second one. I think that one's going to be about.
It looks kind of like defense or like home, sort of.
Yeah, I'm thinking maybe their habitat.
Yeah.
Talking about habitat in the first sentence, and then their realm, which would be like another word for that. So yeah, maybe we could call this one habitat. Let's see, the next one. It's kind of hierarchy again, isn't it? Talking about alpha
Leadership,
leadership. Yeah.
because this one is in the first sentence, at least, it's talking about specifically the alpha or chief.
Yeah. Yes, let's put leadership. I like it. Next one. Talking about chimps disappearing.
Yeah. That'd be something strange.
Yeah. And then they mentioned the word crime in the last sentence. I wonder if we could just call that one crime. Let's just call that one crime. I'm not sure. We'll keep an eye on that, but I think that talking about issues, right? So, and then the last one on the back here.
Flows motherhood.
Yeah. I noticed spoiled child again, and we had that in the first text. I wonder if we should call this one spoiled child again. Because even though he's talking about motherhood, they use that word spoiled child. So now go back to your notes here. And we did decide the first paragraph was like family, but it's also hierarchy. Hold on, I lost my other pen here. So I wonder if we could squeeze underneath family that word hierarchy. H-E-I-H-I-E. It's one of those weird words. R-A-R-C-H-Y. But that one was also in B. So just put comma B there. We had habitat. That's a new one. So I'm gonna put that one for number 6, habitat. And that was in text B. Leadership, that's a new one. B. Crime. And the last one was spoiled child. So we can put that one here with spoiled child. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Yeah. Okay. All right, let's move on to text C. So this is just kind of basically a showing you how to skim text. You know, when you're doing research, it's just impossible to really read everything. I mean, you could do it, but it would take you a really long time. So this is just a cool strategy to help the process go a little bit faster. So we're looking at text C here next. Persisting disappearances. Interesting. That must be an issue, which is very bizarre. All right, so looking at that first paragraph, just the first and last sentence, what do you think that one's going to be about?
I think cooperation, because the first one says it requires community acceptance, and then The last one was clearly the bonds of affection and spirit of cooperation that Flo had fostered in her family became key factors in Biggins' rise to alphaship.
Mm-hmm. I see
So it
that.
seems like cooperation or acceptance to me.
It also mentions alphaship too.
Yeah, both
So
of
I
them.
wonder if could we call that could we put that with leadership, you think? 'Cause that's kind of
Yeah,
one
I
of our
think so.
topics. Yeah, I think that might work there. Um, let's do that. Let's call it leadership. But I like where you're thinking with that. The cooperation, I think, is also involved in that. So what we're trying to do is see if there's any overlapping type information and try to categorize it in the same category if we can. Okay, next one. Usually humans choose a favorite species. So they're talking about, I do see species as a common word.
Yes, these could be another one in this.
Okay. This last one, let's see. It continues on the next page, but interesting. They're talking about polio. Hmm. I guess that's a common theme there, right? Polio.
Yeah.
That's interesting.
Some of these some of these apes have the weirdest names,
I know.
like Fabian and Fegan.
I agree. It's like, who decides to name them? I'm curious about that. Obviously, humans do.
Yeah,
I don't know where they came up with those names. Okay, on the back of this one,
looks like one of them is just called Mike.
oh, that's funny. This one's Casacella, I guess.
Yeah, and Humphrey.
Kahama. Humphrey. Oh, that's funny.
Yeah,
Hmm. So this paragraph looks like they're talking about war. Uh, Civil war in the chimp chiefdom. Interesting. Yeah, let's call this one war then, I guess. And then the last one. Mm.
this one seems like disappearance.
Again, yeah, I think we labeled that crime last time.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, so let's call it crime again because I think that would go with that. Okay, so we can add to this list again. Source C. So we got leadership, species up here. Polio is a new one. Polio. That's going to be in C. And war is going to be a new one too.
We also got crime again.
Crime again. Okay. Right there. All right. Last one is source text D. um, Oh, here it is. Oh yeah, this is, have you ever heard of this lady? Her name is Jane Goodall.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
in middle school we either learned about her or wrote a paper about her.
Yeah, I think she's the one that taught them how to communicate in sign language and yeah, a really interesting lady and really passionate about chimpanzees. Um, okay, so let's look at this one. First paragraph. Talking about living spaces.
Yeah, I was thinking maybe studying, but that seems like it would collide a little bit too much with the first sentence because that one's living spaces.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Yeah, I see what you mean there though. Could we because it also talks about environment, kind of just skimming some words in here. Civilization. I wonder if we could call it habitat so we can group it with
Yeah,
that. Okay.
that would seems good.
Um, this next paragraph basically is talking about what they eat,
Yeah, so diet.
the diet. Yeah.
This one kind of seems like war again.
Yeah. I also see that word behavior in there. I wonder if we could group it with that. Let's see. Uh, that's funny talking about their egos. Oh boy. Does talk about war. Hmm. Could we group it with behavior too, you
I
think?
think so because if it's talking about their egos too,
Yeah,
then
I
and then
agree.
that's what led to war.
Yeah, that's good. Okay. Then on the back here.
Oh, this monkey is named Passion.
Huh. And then little B.
Palm and Prof.
Oh my goodness, that's funny. This one seems to be about crime again, though.
Yeah,
Gang stuff.
criminal gang, and then a terrifying crime had been foiled.
Oh, this is talking about that Civil War again.
Mm.
So let's call this one war, it looks like. Who would have thought it was so sophisticated like that? But
I
yeah,
mean, it makes sense since they're so human-like that they would eventually have human like interactions, I guess.
isn't that weird though? It's crazy. But yeah, you're right. They are pretty close. I'm sure. Have you seen the movie Planet of the Apes before?
Yeah,
I mean,
my
obviously.
dad was a big fan of the originals.
Oh yeah, those are cool.
Yeah, I think
Yeah.
I like the newer ones more, just because it's like real monkeys instead of monkey people.
Yeah, I know. There's a lot of CGI and special effects and stuff, but it's the whole concept of it is interesting though. It's like
Yeah.
really
Like,
bizarre.
it was like one of the monkeys escaped into time or something and then made their own civilization.
Are you talking about the original one?
I think so.
I
In the
gotta look at that one again. I can't really remember.
in the new ones, it was Caesar got some sort of experimental thing in him, and it made him super smart, right?
Yes. Yes. And then he could speak and communicate
Yeah,
in
I thought that was
English.
always cool.
Yeah. But the weirdest part is that they actually rode horses too, which is kind of weird.
Hey, there's the hierarchy part.
Yeah, that's true. Yeah, it was interesting. But the new version is like end of the world stuff, you know. So that group of people were like the last ones to survive, I think. And then they had a war with the apes and stuff. I'll have to
I
watch it
remember
again.
they had that big white gorilla, right?
In the new version,
Yeah,
I think so. I'll have to watch
there
it
was
again. It's
one
been a
of
while.
them. I remember watching it with my dad and my brother.
Because Caesar, I thought, was the main guy, but
Yeah,
was there
he was a
somebody?
chimpanzee.
Oh, you're talking about like the orangutan. Are you talking about that guy? He was the
No.
big guy with a big jowl.
Yeah, this one was. I think he was a white gorilla. It's been a long time since I've seen it, so I might be mixing things together. But he was this big white gorilla, and he was working with the humans. So all of the apes and those guys didn't like him because he was on the wrong side. And I think his name was Donkey, just because the people were making fun of him.
Man, I don't remember that. I'm gonna have to now. I really want to watch the movie again. It's been too long. But I think there's like a series of three different movies, right? Or two at least.
Yeah,
Rise,
because they.
Rise of the Planet of the Apes or something like that.
Oh, I guess he wasn't white. He was just a regular one.
Did you find him on your
But he
phone?
does. Yeah, he does look kind of orange.
Can you hold it up to the camera? Let me see what he is. I don't
Yeah.
remember that character because I remember the big guy that did sign language. He was an orangutan, I think. Oh,
Because he looks orangutan colored, kind of.
kind of. Yeah, yeah. Huh.
Good movies.
Yeah, they're pretty good. I think I now I want to watch them. So,
So do
all right. So we're done skimming that one. This is source D. So we got habitat, diet. That's a new one. Behavior. Crime and war. All right, so from here, this is where we're gonna build side by side keyword outlines. So just glancing at this list, I think what we can do is the topics that only have one source, we could just draw a line through those. So life cycle only has one, polio, diet. So we can eliminate the ones that only have one source. And then which one it is repeated in the most sources?
Definitely crime.
Okay, so crime. I'm just going to circle that number 8. So I think that's where we can start since we can see that repeated in at least 3 sources. we'll start with crime. So now get out a new piece of paper. This is where I'm going to have you start building your keyword outlines here. So we'll just call this one, we'll just label it again here in the paper. 2023. B, C, and D. Okay, once you have that labeled, let's turn it. Let me see if I can zoom out so you can see it better. And I would start as far over as you can at the very bottom of your page. And we're going to start with above that red line. Let's just call this one B. And then underneath that, we're going to put Roman numeral 1 and then put 1, 2, 3. And then 4 and 5 are optional depending on how much you can find. So we'll just label it like that. Draw a line under B there. And then over a little bit, because you're going to have 3 sources here. So we'll move over a little bit. We'll call this one C. Same thing. We'll just squeeze these in here. B, C, and D, I think was the other one. So like I said, 4 and 5 are optional. If you want to just stick with the 3, that's fine. This is just from here, you're going to fuse it to a new outline under that. So the step that you're going to do next, this is what I'm going to have you work on for your homework here, is going back through each one of these articles as it relates to crime. So we're going to go ahead and write crime on each one of these Roman numeral 1s. They're all Roman numeral 1s, by the way. Okay. And glancing back again on these texts, it looks like the crime kind of spiked during some specific years. If you look at, I think it was the last one. We almost could combine crime and war together. It looks like it's 1974. Let's see.
Yeah.
Oh, look at source B, which is a spoiled child at the bottom of page 103. Those are the dates, 1974 and between 1974 and 1976. So let's go ahead and put that date in here next to crime. So we'll just do 1974 through 76 on each one of these. Oops. You're going to have to write pretty small on this page. And if you decide you want to use that bigger page in the back of your binder, I'm okay with that too, to give you some more space to fill this out. So from here, looking at, like, if you start with B, let's look at source text B really quick. And looking at the paragraph about crime, we decided that was, I had to erase mine because I used the plastic on it, but I think it was the last paragraph down here in 103, talked about crime. So that's when now you would actually read the actual paragraph and start pulling out some keywords that you find just in this source. So obviously your keyword outline for text B would be all underneath this one for B. So I'm just going to read it really quick and we could talk about some keywords that you could pull out here. But between 1974 and 1976, numerous baby chimps had evidently disappeared without explanation in those 3 years. Among the 7 or 8 babies born in the Piscataqua, that's, I guess, a community. Okay. Only one, Fifi's infant, Frodo, had lived more than 1 month after birth. Relying upon the close-knit nature of Flo's family, Frodo had survived. Usually all of the disappearances and kidnappings were carried out such that only the mothers of the victims knew about them, since they would have defended the mothers and infants if they had been around. The males evidently were away when the crimes were committed. Interesting. So I guess some keywords we can just using that paragraph. So, you know, we can come up with probably 3 different sets of keywords, but I'm thinking like baby and chimps and disappeared, maybe for number 1. And then maybe for 2, I'll just help you get going on this, but only one.
Oh, yeah.
I'm going to put Frodo. Of 7 to 8 born. Only one, Frodo, of 7 to 8 born. So I know we have probably, oh, we're good. We're within the 3 to 4 word limit there. Okay, so what I'm gonna have you do this week is focus on those paragraphs that you labeled crime. And pull out, go ahead and read those paragraphs and then pull out key information from there and just jot them here like we do our keyword outlines. Same rules apply, you know, numbers, symbols, abbreviations for free. And 4 and 5 are optional. So if you only get 3, that's okay. And then just gather your information from B, C, and D. And that's all you'll do for homework for this week. And then next week in class, we'll fuse it together and then move on to the next topic. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, cool. And then your grammar as usual. So, all righty. And then, like I said, if you want to move to a bigger piece of paper, I'm okay with that. Whoops, I just let in Michael. Oopsie. Michael, can you hear me?